Ada stood in her apartment, folding the last of her neatly pressed blouses onto her suitcase as she yapped on her phone that was pressed against her ear through the support of her shoulder. She was talking to Ahmed. "Don't forget to buy drinks on your way. You'll get hungry on the road," she said as they wrapped up their conversation. Of course, he chuckled. "I already bought some water and some soft drinks. You know, I can't let my lady starve." She smiled faintly. "Good. I packed food for us too, but we can buy some snacks from the hawkers at the bus station." "Okay then, I'll be there in 10 minutes, he replied. "Sure, I'll calm down when you call." She ended the call and took a slow breath, calming her nerves from the little anxiety creeping in her chest. Going back to Chencha, her mother's village, always stirred something inside her. Pain, love, longing, curiosity. The place was hell for a girl child, hell for a woman. A place where she had very traumatic experiences as a child. After she escaped, she vowed to never set foot there again. But something was pulling her close. Something was calling her back to her roots. Something powerful. It felt new. It felt scary and defiant. Maybe the cry of all the women who are suffering and those of the innocent children who died merged together, singing a song of freedom in the spirit. As she stood there, deep in a trance, she heard the cries of the innocent intertwine, rising in desperate harmony as they begged for freedom. She jolted back to herself with a shiver, the trance slipping away like smoke. The clothes she had been holding tumbled from her hands, forgotten, as she looked around the room in wide-eyed confusion. But beneath the confusion was something deeper, something raw and powerful, pulsing in her chest. And in that moment, she understood she was not going to Chencha alone. But her carnal mind pushed back, brushing aside the strange feelings and the hints of something supernatural that clung to her. It tried to bring her back to normal, insisting she was simply tired, worn out by work, travel, and the long days behind her. Surely, that was why her emotions felt so heightened. And so, she convinced herself that she was only returning home to rest and to pay her mother and grandmother their last respect, nothing more. Ahmed's car horn beeped lightly when he arrived. Ada stepped out of the building with her suitcase, and he came out of the car to help her, his face bright and handsome under this Addis Ababa morning sun. "You look beautiful," he said, lifting the suitcase into the trunk. "Well, I'm not trying to be beautiful," she replied with a shy smile. "I'm trying to be on time." They laughed and got in. From the apartment, they headed to the bus station, where they would board a long-distance transport that led toward the South Gamo highlands. The bus rumbled to life and began weaving through Addis Ababa's busy roads. Ada leaned her head against the window, watching the city blur past tall buildings, new construction, traffic, vendors, people rushing. Ahmed gently tapped her leg. "You okay?" "Yes," she whispered, just thinking. The trip was about 7 hours, and the bus made 3 stops along the way. After the second hour, Ada had drifted off to sleep, her head resting against the rattling window as the road hummed beneath them. When she finally woke up, the bus had pulled into a busy station for fuel and a short break. People were moving everywhere, hawkers calling out, children running around, travelers stretching their legs. Ada stepped down from the bus to breathe a little and ease her stiff shoulders. Ahmed joined her, and together they bought snacks from the hawkers: kolo, double kolo, sambusa, and some soft drinks. When the break ended, they climbed back inside the bus. As soon as the engine started again, they opened their snacks and began eating, talking quietly while the bus rolled on. It wasn't deep conversation, just light, easy talk that made the long journey feel shorter. Ahmed asked more about Chencha, how it looked, how it felt, what the people were like. Ada smiled and told him, Chencha is an experience. I can tell you small things about it, but you will only understand when you are there yourself. So, they talked lightly about the village, about nature, about little memories she still had. The hours passed slowly, but peacefully. When the bus finally reached the last bus stop, they came down again. From there, they boarded a small taxi heading into Chencha, since the bigger buses didn't enter the village itself. By the time the taxi finally began to enter Chencha, the sun was already going down. It was around 7 in the evening, and the whole village was washed in that soft, warm light that comes just before the night settles in. As they drove deeper, the first thing they saw were mud houses, but beautifully painted in bright colors and patterns that told stories of people who lived there. Some walls had flowers painted on them, others had geometric designs, and some showed faces or symbols passed down from old traditions. The houses looked simple, but they were full of life. The village itself was alive too. Even though it was evening, people were still outside. Men sat at small local bars, laughing loudly as music played from old speakers. You could hear drums, soft singing, and people clapping along. Women were gathered in groups, talking and sharing stories as they cooked all sorts of things outside their homes. Children ran freely everywhere. Some were flying kites that danced against the fading sky. Others were chasing each other, playing games, shouting, and laughing as if the night didn't worry them at all. The air smelled like food cooking, smoke, spices, injera, and the sound of joy and movement filled the whole place. It wasn't a quiet village, it was a warm and lively one. Ahmed watched everything through the window, amazed. He smiled again, taking it all in. Ada looked at the familiar sights too, but the same supernatural feeling she had earlier, the one she tried to ignore, returned with full force as soon as the taxi had crossed into Chencha. Her ears rang, her heart skipped, a strange cold gift from the spirits of Chencha welcoming her. It was heavy, almost like the air itself, pressing against her chest. She couldn't explain it, but she knew it wasn't something ordinary. It felt like something powerful had been waiting for her return, something that would change her life and the lives of everyone in Chencha forever.